What's up, everybody? Hoping that some notifications went out because I am not seeing anybody in chat. Sorry, I have to get my headset on so I can hear. So we got some clips to look at today. There's some crazy stuff going on just everywhere. It's absolutely insane. And now there's some kind of new virus, perhaps outbreak coming, maybe. It's insane. So we're gonna take a look at that. And also Turning Point USA. OMG. So I know you guys probably remember me talking about a channel called Wolves in Finance, and he's basically this really amazing accountant who actually can explain things so that we can understand, right? Because normally, look, I don't know anything about business taxes and business finances, especially like a giant nonprofit like Turning Point USA. Wolves in Finance, however, he's really smart and he's an accountant and that's his thing. That's what he does. And he can explain things really, really well. And he did a breakdown of Turning Point USA and how they are filing their taxes, what types of things they are saying their money is going to. And he found some pretty wild, suspicious looking stuff, allegedly. And he explained it all, and it's pretty wild. And I want to take a look at his video because what he actually shows us is pretty shocking, to be honest. I want to take a look at that today as well. Plus, there's some stuff going on with ice. And I mean, not just the winter ice storms. I'm talking about ice. There's some stuff going on with, oh my gosh, so much. Protesters. They found that these protesters were actually getting paid and organizing kind of like a little army, sort of. Wild. And yeah, the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni stuff is just it's hilarious, and I want to take a look at some of that as well. But let's see who's here. What's up, G Keyman and Wild Billiam, Painful Truth. Hi guys, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you all. Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like so we can get this video out there. All right, so let's just dive right in because there's so much stuff to look at, honestly. Oh my gosh. So first things first, I just want to quickly show you guys a post that I came across just a few minutes ago. It's pretty wild. Yeah. It says, shut down all travel from India. We aren't doing this again. A new deadly respiratory virus zoonotic outbreak began Friday, only found in India, has no treatment or cure. The Thai Ministry of Public Health on Sunday began screening air passengers arriving from India for possible Nipah virus infection after 5 virus cases were reported and nearly 100 people were quarantined in India's eastern state of West Bengal, according to media reports. And here's an actual media report. The outbreak leaves 5 infected and nearly 100 quarantined. Thailand begins screening passengers from India, blah, blah, blah. This is by the Global Times, and this was January 26th, today at 1:25 a.m. Yeah, we are not doing this again. We don't want to do this again. We don't want to do any of this again. So I hope this is like somebody blowing things out of proportion and it's not really what we think it is and all that stuff, because honestly, we really don't need to have another deadly, virus sweeping across our country. We really don't. All right. Now, going from that, I just want to scroll down to my bottom here where we've got this information from Wolves in Finance. So I want to just actually watch his video because at least watch the important parts of his video with you guys, because he has found some he's found some really big inconsistencies, so much so that TPUSA has actually sent him a cease and desist letter. And he's just a smaller YouTube channel. He's not, he's not like he's got millions of followers or anything like that. But it must have been so, I don't know. So it shook them. It shook TPUSA. It shook them to their core. So they sent him a letter. I mean, it's pretty wild. So yeah, let me pull this video up because I want to show it to you guys. I think you'll be pretty shocked at what we find here. Let me bring us to the beginning so we can check out his. We want to actually definitely check out his. What do you call it? We want to look at his. Here we go. All right. So this is Wolves in Finance. I watch him a lot. He really does. Like I said, he breaks down stuff so everybody can understand. Because look, we don't all know about finances and business finances and shit. I hardly want to even do my own taxes. Okay. So, but let's have a look at his disclaimer real quick. And let's just call this our own disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are my own and based on publicly available information and sources cited. All allegations discussed are unproven and presented for informational and commentary purposes only. This content is protected opinion speech. It is not intended as statement of fact or assertions of illegal conduct. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research. All right, so now that's out of the way. Let's take a listen. Just listen to his beginning. Like the beginning of his video, it just gets you. It just pulls you right in. He's like really dead ass serious about this stuff, and he just pulls you right in. That's wild.
Last week, I received a cease and desist letter from Turning Point. This is the first step in a lawsuit. If I post this video, Turning Point will likely sue me and try to destroy my life. I have a choice to make. I can speak the truth, but it will cost me everything I have. The corrupt Turning Point executives have forgotten something.
Right.
In 1941, Pearl Harbor was attacked by Japan. Hundreds of Japanese planes destroyed much of the U.S. fleet and the planes on the ground. The attack was such a surprise, most U.S. planes on the island were not able to take off. But a handful of brave U.S. pilots, without orders, jumped in their planes, managed to take off, and engage with the enemy. One of them, Philip Rasmussen, was still in his pajamas. This is how he describes the attack in his own words. I was in my pajamas, and I yelled down the hallway that we were being attacked by the Japanese. And I ran to my room, and I strapped a web belt around my waist and a .45 caliber pistol in my holster that was on this belt, and put on a pair of shoes and ran for the flight line. A handful of U.S. pilots faced off against hundreds of Japanese planes. That is courage under fire. And they kept Pearl Harbor from being even worse. 2,403 Americans died in the attack on Pearl Harbor. Being brave is part of what it means to be an American. That is something that Charlie Kirk understood. And it's something that I try to live up to. I owe it to those brave Americans who gave their lives. So I have one message for all you patriots out there. It's time to fly.
He really just goes right off on it. So yeah, we're gonna listen to a little bit of what he found in Turning Point USA's financials, because it's pretty wild. So there's actually a letter. We're gonna look at the letter first things first. Basically, Wolves in Finance has accused Turning Point USA allegedly of kind of having some shady dealings in their finances, right? He's saying, look, there's money missing. It's going here. It's going there. We need to know where it's going. And Turning Point has not yet really answered him other than to send him a cease and desist letter. In the cease and desist letter, it's pretty crazy because they talk about a few things that he got wrong and things they don't want him to say and refer to and things like that. And so, he went through and he edited everything and fixed it like they wanted it. However, there's a lot of things on there that they did not correct that he was talking about in some of his previous videos, which leads us all to believe that those things then must be true, right? So it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. Let's listen to what he says about this letter from the IRS that Turning Point USA received, because they received this really great letter from the IRS saying, hey, you're not under investigation at all, so don't worry about it. But it's a pretty suspicious letter, if you ask me.
But I still like the guy. I can't help it. He's just a likable person. Now, obviously, he's wrong about me. Anyone who has seen my videos knows he's clearly misrepresenting what I'm saying. But I'm not going to hold that against him. Everyone is allowed to have a bad take once in a while. I'm not going to let it bother me. He's allowed to have his own opinion. What he's not allowed to do is argue with the facts. Robert Barnes went on a podcast called Paramount Tactical, and they discussed a letter that was allegedly sent from the IRS to Turning Point.
All right, so that is just kind of the tip of the iceberg as far as the allegations. I know that Wolves and Finances have kind of brought to the fore against TPUSA. And Robert, I know I actually got some of the documents, the letter from the IRS to Erica Kirk and TPUSA that talks about what their situation is as regards to the IRS.
This letter has been floating around and reported on by mainstream news outlets like CBS, except the letter itself has never been shown until Paramount Tactical's podcast. In fact, I'm guessing he was not supposed to show this to his audience because it is quite shocking. It is a 2-page letter on Department of the Treasury letterhead. It says it is responding to a request from Erica Kirk. It says, 1, there is no IRS investigation currently underway on Turning Point. 2, all 4 990 forms were filed by May 15th, 2025. 3, the next year's forms will be filed by May 15th, 2026. The letter is signed by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
Hold on a second. I thought I just heard him say that it was a request from Erica Kirk. So Erica Kirk contacted the United States Treasury or the IRS and asked some questions, I guess. Is that what we can infer from this? Because he said it's responding to Erica Kirk's inquiries, right? So evidently she actually was like, hey, are we under some type of investigation? Is that literally what just happened? Like, this is crazy. So yeah, you can't sue somebody if they tell the truth. That's true. And yes, it's also true that you can be sued for doxing somebody. Those are both true statements. So yeah, anyways, this is the letter, all right, from the IRS that was sent to Erica Kirk. It says that, they're not doing any type of investigation on him.
Paramount Tactical is presenting this letter as some kind of evidence that there is no fraud at Turning Point. That is ridiculous for a number of reasons. We all know this because all of us deal with the IRS. We all know this is not normal behavior. Have any of you ever received a letter from the IRS saying, just letting you know, we're not doing an investigation on you?
Anybody hands? Let's see a show of hands. Anybody get a letter from the IRS saying they're not investigating you? Anybody? That's very true. This is very true. So it's an odd letter to begin with, right? Because all of a sudden you're getting this letter in the mail. Hey, we're not investigating. But I really think he missed the part. I honestly think that he missed the part where it said it was in response to Erica Kirk. So I think she actually requested some type of, correspondence with them to find out what's actually going on. But I do think Wolves in Finance may have missed that part. And he thinks that they just randomly sent this letter out to Turning Point. And I don't think that, they randomly did. I think that it was in response to Erica Kirk's inquiries. So let's listen on about this letter because it's pretty important. And what he actually says is wild. It's completely and totally wild.
No, of course you have not, because the IRS does not do this. And it's not coming from the IRS. The letter is signed by the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. To me, this looks more like a political favor to Donald Trump's personal friends than a legitimate IRS communication. Second, the wording in this letter does not mean anything. Just because the IRS is not investigating does not mean there is no fraud going on. This does not mean that donors cannot sue Turning Point to get their money back. This does not mean that state attorney generals cannot file criminal charges against Turning Point executives. This letter does not disprove my concerns about their finances. And what is this? What is this? At the top of the page, someone has crossed out Mrs. Kirk and wrote in Erica. It looks like someone is proofreading Scott Bessent's letter. Who could that be?
Shalom, I'm Rivki
Who
Green.
could that be? Here is where, let me see. Actually, let me just let this play through and we'll skip it. We're going to skip it because we don't care about this, okay?
White House documents, and in my opinion, that handwriting looks like it was written by Donald Trump.
I wish I had a dun 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 button because this is one of those moments where he's literally like, this is outrageous. This is outrageous. He thinks Donald Trump is involved in this.
If you compare it to other samples of his writing, he does a consistent method where he writes a name dash, name dash, name dash.
That's
the
true.
K is very much like this K. The E is written the same way as this W. This handwriting looks like it belongs to Donald Trump.
No. I'm going to let this play and let him explain what this would imply should this be something that's legitimate, okay? And then we've got some other information. Let's listen.
This letter does not look like it came from the IRS. It looks like it came from the President of the United States. Do you understand what this means? This is the only document the Democrats need to impeach President Trump. This looks like the president's handwriting on official letterhead of him interfering in an IRS investigation of his personal friends. Let me remind you of Richard Nixon. Nixon faced impeachment charges for interfering with the FBI investigation into the Watergate scandal. The main evidence was secret tape recordings of conversations in the Oval Office. Donald Trump is doing the same thing with the IRS investigation, but this time we have what looks like his handwriting on official letterhead. It looks like the White House is now part of the cover-up at Turning Point.
Now, I do think that I don't think he's an idiot. I think he just is really fired up because they really went after him, and all he was really doing was just going through their finances and showing things that we, don't understand. However, he did take it a little bit too crazy. I think he should have asked around to get some handwriting experts to take a little bit of a comparison to find out whose handwriting this is. Like, does it match? Does it not? Because, somebody else has done that, however, and here's what they found out. They said after doing a comparative analysis, the signature for the TPUSA no fraud investigation Treasury Scott Bessent letter is only a 10% match for Trump's handwriting. Trump does all caps on his handwriting. However, it's a 90% match for JD Vance on the name with a dash afterward. There's JD Vance's writing with a dash, and there's some more of his writing. But anyway, somebody did take a look at it, and it is a 90% match for JD Vance, allegedly, okay, according to Diligent Denizen. So that is something. I mean, that's something to be kind of thoughtful of, because then what does that mean? It's pretty wild. Either way, TPUSA does have, friends. JD Vance is one of Erica Clark's very good friends, remember? I mean, I could see him proofreading a letter to send and saying, hey, you know what? It's not like dear Mrs. Kirk. It's say Erica, that's our friend. We want to make sure that it's very friendly letter. There's a lot of things it could be. But the letter is kind of the least of the shock in this whole video. The letter is probably the least shocking thing, in my opinion, because no, I don't believe Donald Trump wrote that at all. I don't even really know if JD Vance did. I mean, we just don't know. It does look a little bit like JD Vance, though. That dash is pretty long, and it looks like JD Vance's dashes are pretty long like that, and things like that. So anyways, moving along, because there are some very good there's some pretty wild stuff that if this is true, this is bad.
Let me give some free accounting advice to Donald Trump. You get this one for free, Donald.
We're going to
stop contribution to Turning Point USA with the official Turning Point email address, donations. Most people don't know what has been happening with the donations. I received a message from someone named Margaret. Like many other people, she donated money to Turning Point USA because she was moved by Charlie Kirk's death. She was told if she gave a donation that she would receive a hat as part of their fundraising effort. Here's the message. Thank you for your contribution to Turning Point USA with the official Turning Point email address. And it says, shipping of your hat could take up to 10 to 12 weeks. She donated on September 16th. 12 weeks would have been the second week in December.
Why is everyone using Ninja Transfers?
They really tick me off when they make commercials in my videos because I pay for YouTube Premium
Margaret
on my
has
other
never
channel.
received a hat. Instead, she received this card with a rubber bracelet. They are sending bracelets to people instead of the hat they promised. And this is not an isolated incident. Here is a Facebook post. Made a $25 donation to TPUSA back in September that was supposed to come with a 47 hat free for making the donation. Never got hat. Try texting
Those bastards? That's rude.
them and calling them several times and have not gotten response. Did get one response from someone named Anika, who said she had no record of the transaction. Have sent them copies of my receipt with no response. Called and left my name and contact info on their voicemail because they never answer the phone and they don't even call you back. Loved Charlie Kirk and watched him religiously, but this has totally disappointed me. We'll call my bank and see if I can get reimbursed for the donation. And the replies are full of comments saying the same thing. All I got was a bracelet. We got a bracelet. No hat as promised. Got a cheap rubber band bracelet and no hat. That's a big way to turn people away. Just make false promises. Same thing happened to my husband. No hat. Gave a donation back in September. And it goes on and on and on. People need to realize what Turning Point has been doing to get donations since Charlie Kirk's death. They are lying to people to get their money and then sending them rubber bracelets.
I mean, that sounds funny, I mean, like it sounds like, whatever. But that's a big deal. I mean, that is a big deal if they are actually promising one thing and then not following through on that promise, because if they don't send what they said they're going to send, that's just them not following through, and they are not doing what they're telling people. And that's a big deal when it comes to a nonprofit for donations and things. When you tell people that they're going to donate and the donations are going for this, this, and this, and if you donate, you're going to receive this, this, and this, if those things don't line up, that's a huge, huge problem. I mean, people have gone to prison for this happening. Like if their donations are going somewhere they're not supposed to go, not what they told their donors, they can go to prison, basically. All right. And this is just kind of like dipping the toe in here by showing that they are actually sending bracelets instead of hats, allegedly. And I mean, we can see it right here. I don't think it's allegedly at this point. Like, we can see that this is what they're sending. So that's kind of a big deal. Now, moving past that is now kind of getting into the good stuff of what's actually going on with all the money.
Let's look at the big picture. When someone gives money to Turning Point USA, what do they think they're giving money to? Most people think they're giving money to campus events, like what Charlie Kirk did. He would go to college campuses and answer questions. This is such a good nonprofit idea. Everyone supports that idea. Everyone knows that there is a major problem in the United States with college campuses. We have professors teaching communism and woke ideas in the classroom. How do we fix this? One way is what Charlie Kirk was doing. He was creating spaces on college campuses where students could talk about capitalism and free markets. He was allowing free speech where people could make fun of being woke. Everyone likes this idea. Everyone wants more of this. If this was all Turning Point was doing, no one would have a problem with it. What people are now realizing from Turning Point's financial information is that they are involved in a whole lot more. Let us look again at the 4 nonprofit companies. We have Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Endowment, and America's Turning Point. 3 of these companies are 501c3 organizations. Turning Point Action is a 501c4. The difference is that a 501c3 is not allowed to participate in political activity. A 501c4 can participate in no more than 50% political activity. And then there is also Turning Point PAC, which is 100% political activity. Now, I have seen arguments from people claiming that this is normal. They say it is normal for nonprofits to have multiple different companies. Not like this, it's not. Do not let people gaslight you about what's going on here. Let me explain what is unusual. You would normally create different shell companies for different types of activities. For instance, Turning Point Endowment is for their investments. That's clearly a different type of activity. It gets its own company.
I can see that.
That makes sense. Turning Point Action is a 501c4. That's a different type of activity, so it gets its own company. What is this? Why is America's Turning Point separate? The company descriptions on the 990 form are very similar. It's basically education for young people.
Yeah, the top one says, briefly describe the organization's mission or most significant activities. It says, organize and operate exclusively for educational and charitable purposes. And this one says, education of students about the importance of fiscal responsibility, free markets, and capitalism. So basically, yeah, seems like the same thing. You're explaining people educational stuff, right? So they're both for educational stuff. So why are they both there if it's doing the same things?
So why are these 2 different companies? The only major difference that I see is that Charlie Kirk managed Turning Point USA and Tyler Boyer managed America's Turning Point.
And there it is.
So in a way, America's Turning Point existed to give Charlie Kirk plausible deniability.
Ooh.
It gave Tyler Boyer his own 501c3 where he could do whatever he wanted, and Charlie Kirk would not necessarily know about it.
Wow.
This is explained in the fine print of the 990 form for Turning Point USA, which says, Turning Point USA's other educational programs include campus leadership programs, which are hosted by Turning Point USA's related entity, America's Turning Point, with grants totaling $8.6 million. So what is Tyler Boyer doing with these students? It sounds like this leadership program is a pipeline for these students to go work for Tyler Boyer. I wonder what these students are doing that costs $8.6 million. We're going to get into that in a minute. The other obvious question for most people is, how does Turning Point get involved in so much political activity? The only companies that are allowed to do political activity are up to 50% of Turning Point Action and Turning Point PAC.
See, that is something that's pretty interesting to me, right? Because he's right that this, when they're filing their taxes and when they're using their money from all these different companies, they have to be very careful with which company is spending money on what activities, right? And the Turning Point PAC is one that is 100% political activity. Turning Point Action is 50% political activity. The rest are not allowed to pay for any political activities at all. But he makes a good point here about, how this money's being spent.
50% of Turning Point Action and Turning Point PAC. What happens in the real world is that a lot of 501c3s will perform what they call get out the vote efforts or voter education. This is defined in Treasury Regulation 1.527-6B5. Get out the vote campaigns must not be specifically identified by the organization with any candidate or political party. As long as these are nonpartisan activities, they are considered not political, and that is the loophole that is allowed for a 501c3. This would include things like signing people up for new voter registration, but you cannot be pushing for Republican or Democrat. It has to be completely nonpartisan.
Okay, so as long as it's nonpartisan, it's not considered political activity. I get it. All right. This is why I really love this guy, because he breaks everything down to simpleton terms that I can understand, because I don't understand 501c3 finances. Okay.
Here's the problem. Turning Point USA is a 501c3. They are supposed to be non-political. But then we see Erica Kirk endorsing JD Vance for president.
Ooh,
We're going to ensure that President
she sure did. She sure did.
Trump has Congress for all 4 years. We are going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected for 48 in the most resounding way possible.
You know, I can't stand her so much that I might just not vote for JD Vance. Just because she wants me to. That's what I might do. That's how bad I can't stand that woman. I'm just kidding. I'll vote for whoever I want to.
This is at America Fest, Turning Point USA's largest event, with the CEO in a flashy pantsuit giving a speech endorsing a political candidate. This is strictly forbidden under the law for a 501c3.
That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And that's the thing that people are not grasping, because we don't realize it, right? I don't know that. Did you know that? Like, did anybody recognize this? Because I don't think anybody did. You know, she's standing there representing Turning Point USA, and at her AmFest event for Turning Point USA, she endorses JD Vance, and that is considered, you know, she's not being nonpartisan. She's actually, you know, endorsing a candidate, and that's not okay as far as where the money is being spent. And this is where he breaks down how the money got to the event. Comment on people's outfit choices. No, I had no idea she wore a fancy pantsuit. Yeah, she wore a fancy pantsuit, just in case you were unaware. But I think he's just making fun of it because it's ridiculous. Like, you know, she had to be like glittery so that we would forget that we can't stand her. Okay, here we go.
You cannot endorse political candidates. That is political activity. In my opinion, what Erica Kirk just did was illegal. This is effectively using their tax-exempt donations to create a campaign commercial for JD Vance. And before you say, well, maybe it was paid for by one of the other companies that allow political activity. No, no, no. It says Turning Point USA behind her head during the speech. The tickets for the event were sent out from Turning Point USA. The fact page for the event is hosted at TPUSA.com. And at the bottom of the webpage, it explicitly says Turning Point USA is a 501c3.
That's wild. Like, that's a huge deal. That's a huge, huge deal. Yes, they can definitely say we're here to get out the vote and we're from Turning Point USA, and they can make the assumptions of whatever, but they're not allowed to influence anything. They're not allowed to influence anything that they're voting on, or, you know, anything like that. They can't talk about any of that. It has to be completely, you know. So this is a big deal, right? She's got this whole event, Turning Point, and then she brings out JD Vance, and literally in front of everybody, it looks as though she's endorsing him for president, right? We're going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected next term. Like he says, in his opinion, that is illegal to do. And it's pretty crazy if that's the case, and nothing is being done. That's pretty crazy to me.
Looks to me like the executives at Turning Point are playing pretty fast and loose with the laws concerning 501c3s. Remember why this is important. A 501c3 is tax exempt, which is a tax subsidy. You are paying more in taxes so that they do not have to. So is it fair that Democrats are paying taxes that fund a campaign commercial for JD Vance? This is so unjust, which is why there are so many laws against what Erica Kirk just did.
It's not fair that anybody is paying extra taxes so they don't have to when they're making millions and millions of dollars. I cannot stand that. I think if a nonprofit organization is making more than like $10 million, they should not be tax exempt anymore. I think they should definitely have to pay their taxes. I don't think it should be up to the rest of the United States citizens to pay extra taxes so they don't have to pay them. And that is exactly why each and every one of us are allowed to say, what the hell's going on with the money over at Turning Point USA? Because we're paying a teeny bit of extra taxes so that they don't have to pay them, right? So it's our business now. It's all our business now. Just like it's our business about where our tax money's going and how many, all the fraud and scams going on out there, you know? So it's like, it's exhausting putting up with all this stuff when we're paying taxes for all this nonsense. It's crazy. It's absolutely out of control. It's unhinged. So anyways, moving on.
If she wants to endorse a candidate, that's fine, but she needs to pay for it out of Turning Point PAC. I'm going to give you the exact wording from IRS Revenue Rule 2007-41. A 501c3 does not participate in or intervene in, including the publishing or distributing of statements, any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office.
Right? This is very clear, right? Everybody's getting this, right? We're all understanding this, right? Please hit the like. Please hit the like. Please hit the like. All right. Come on. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers this weekend. So subscribe if you're new. If you're just passing through, hit the subscribe.
That seems pretty clear that Erica Kirk's statement was illegal. So the only nonprofit that is supposed to do political activity is the 501c4 Turning Point Action. There is a special section on their 990 form where they are supposed to list out the political activity they are engaged in, Schedule C.
Okay.
Now, everyone should go check out Schedule C for Turning Point Action because it is quite shocking.
Why is it shocking? What's it say? Schedule C. I can't see anything on here. Hopefully he'll explain it to us.
For FY24, on line 2, they listed that they spent $637,500 on political campaign activity expenditures. Now, just let that sink in for a moment. Out of Turning Point Action's $21 million budget, they only spent 3% on political activity. Now, just from what you know about what Turning Point Action does that seem right to you? Now, they actually provide a description of what the $637,500 was spent on. They claim it was specifically political campaign activities include event expense. So they spent this money on some kind of event. I'm guessing it was a campaign rally for Donald Trump. And they are claiming that this is the only thing that Turning Point Action does that qualifies as political activity. All of the rest of the millions of dollars that they have spent was not for political activity. I have a really hard time believing that. We're going to take a closer look. If Turning Point Action spent more than 3% of their budget on political activity, that means they lied to the IRS and they lied to their donors, and that is fraud. This would be an omission of potentially taxable income. So what I want to do is an audit. We're going to do an audit right here, right now, and you people on the internet can help me do it.
Ooh, we're going to help. We're going to help them. You ready? We're going to help them. All right, Sean, thank you for hanging out for a little bit. Appreciate you. See you on the next one, buddy. We're doing an audit. We're busy doing an audit. So let's see what's going to happen.
We're going to look at what Turning Point Action actually does in real life. And then we're going to compare that to what they are reporting in their financials.
Yes, this is what I want.
If it looks like their political activity exceeds 3%, that means that they are lying.
Okay.
So to start out with,
3%. We're looking at 3%. All right.
On their website, tpaction.com, there's an entire page dedicated to ballot harvesting. It says, Turning Point Action's Chase the Vote initiative. They say, TP Action chased ballots in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Nevada. They describe this as, the radical left was beating us in the ballot game. In 2024, Turning Point Action launched the first and most robust conservative ballot operation. So they are specifically saying on the website that this is partisan. It should not qualify as a nonpartisan get out the vote effort. It is extremely partisan. So why are the expenses for this not?
That's true too. See, that's true too. Oh my gosh.
Listed on the 990 form.
That is so true. This
Chase the Vote initiative sounds like ballot harvesting. People call this different names. Ballot harvesting, ballot chasing, door knocking, whatever you call it. It involves going to someone's door and getting their ballot. Ballot harvesting is not illegal as long as they follow the rules. Every state has different election laws. For instance, in Arizona, ballot harvesting is only allowed for immediate family members and caregivers. For the sake of this video, we're going to assume that Turning Point is doing ballot harvesting correctly. I'm just going to assume that they hired all of these people to harvest ballots only for their immediate family members. I know that is a massive assumption, but we're going to start there.
They hired the ballot harvesters for only their immediate family members. Is that all they're allowed to do, right? Is that what he's saying? They're only allowed to do their immediate family members. They're not allowed to go door knocking to harvest ballots?
The problem is not the ballot harvesting. The problem is, how are they paying for the ballot harvesting? Are they paying for it out of companies that are not supposed to be doing political activity and then not reporting it to the IRS? Here's a post by Tyler Boyer. Another day, another group of dozens of full-time ballot chasers being trained into the field. I wonder how they are paying for all of this.
Wow.
Here's another post by Ashley on X.com. Ballot chasing in Arizona with TP action. Make America great again. Hashtag Trump 2024. In the photograph, they are wearing red MAGA hats. Now, in my opinion, if you are wearing a red MAGA hat and putting in your social media post hashtag Trump 2024, this is clearly political activity. Her profile page says she's a college deputy director at Turning Point USA, which is not supposed to do any political activity. So is this senior manager being paid, and where is that money coming from?
That's all. I mean, that's all. What he's saying makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. I don't know about you guys. What do you think? It sounds like, I mean, they're wearing the hats. Like they're clearly being political, and that shouldn't be paid for from that specific. It should be taxable is basically what he's saying. It should be taxable. That money should be taxable, but they're placing it on the, companies or whatever you want to call it, the not shell companies, but the other companies that are involved in Turning Point. They're placing those things into different columns that they, I don't know, shouldn't be. I don't understand why this isn't being investigated, because it does seem like this is clearly like political. This is wild.
Because it does not look like it was reported as political activity on the 990 form. Here's a screenshot from an interview with Tyler Boyer. This looks like he is sitting at his desk at home. You can see behind his head a poster that reads, "Knock doors, win elections." It looks like it is talking about the Chase the Vote initiative. It's on the wall right behind his desk. For something so important that Tyler Boyer keeps it right behind his desk, does it make sense to you that political activity only makes up 3% of the budget of Turning Point Action? Here's a post from Matthew Martinez that says, "From chasing every vote to curing every ballot. Tonight, TP Action called thousands of voters to help them cure their rejected ballots. We are laser focused on chasing and curing every vote until polls close here in Wisconsin."
Wow.
On his profile, he lists Turning Point Action. I don't know if he works for them, but it certainly looks like he's getting paid. This is a post by Jeanette Garcia. Some people stack paper, TP Action stacks paper. And she's holding a pile of request forms for early voting. Her profile says she's the CTV Deputy Director for Turning Point Action. How much is she getting paid? She also posted this, meeting today with TP Action.
Wow.
Chase the Vote senior managers and getting prepared to take on 2026.
How many people did they have out here doing this? This is a lot of people.
And there are all these people. How much money are these people getting paid?
Wow.
We know they are getting paid because we have a job posting. Now hiring Chase the Vote managers in New Hampshire. Visit.
He really went deep on this one, guys. He truly went deep on this one. And basically, he just goes on and on to, point out all these different people that seem to be out there ballot chasing. And, he's questioning, where are they getting paid from?
Showing you how it does not match what is being reported to the IRS. To finish this audit, you need to answer 2 questions. Does Turning Point Action's activity qualify as political activity? And second, does it seem like that political activity exceeds the 3% reported to the IRS on the 990 form? In my opinion, I think absolutely yes, that they are lying to the IRS. What they are doing is so extreme on such a massive scale with millions of dollars. I think someone is lying. Now, for some reason, if you're still not convinced, do you remember last week when Turning Point's lawyer sent me a threatening letter? That was one of the worst mistakes that Turning Point has done. That letter is the key to this entire story. Because in that letter, they write out their official reason why Turning Point Action's budget increased from $10.7 million in FY23 to $27.2 million in FY24. This increase of $16.5 million was for, and I quote, lobbying and political activity during election years. This is what Turning Point's own lawyer is saying the $16.5 million is being used for. So why is none of this money being reported on Schedule C in the 990 form?
That's like a mic drop moment right there. That's their own lawyer saying that was for political activity. And you can clearly see in the rules of the IRS, political activity needs to be reported on the 990 form because it needs to be taxed. I mean, this isn't looking good at all. Allegedly. Allegedly. It's all allegedly.
According to Turning Point's own official statement, they are guilty. Now, I realize we're not doing a real audit here. We do not have access to all the financial information. It is possible that Turning Point has an innocent explanation for all of this. But from what little information we do have, It certainly looks like something illegal is going on. But here's the crazy part. Turning Point action is not even my biggest concern. The biggest problem is America's Turning Point, that strange 501c3 managed by Tyler Boyer.
It gets worse? Oh my gosh.
It is managed by the same person who manages the election-focused organizations Turning Point Action and Turning Point PAC. But we are supposed to believe that it is a 501c3 that does absolutely no political activity whatsoever. Well, we have already seen the types of things that Turning Point is not counting as political activity. With everything that I have shown you about Tyler Boyer and his operations, how many of you believe that America's Turning Point is doing nothing political?
Oh, let's see a show of hands. Think they are not doing anything political? Put a 1 in the chat if you think they are not doing anything political. Put a 2 if you think they are doing something political. I'm going to see a vote. 1 if you think they're not, 2 if you think they are. Are they being political? Yes or no? Yeah. Well, William says 2. Arena says 2. Yeah, I think so too, guys. Allegedly, in my opinion, in my personal, very personal opinion. And you know what really, it kind of bums me out that he made that whole thing about Trump in the beginning of this video, because it makes him sound a little bit like, you know, conspiracy theory, but he's not. He isn't normally like that. I mean, he only really goes after factual information. And so it kind of bummed me out that he put that whole thing, that whole spiel about Trump. But I think the whole thing about it is he's just ticked off because they sent him a cease and desist letter, you know, when he was just making a video showing their publicly available documents and explaining it to us. And that was all he really did. And so they sent him that letter and he's pissed. He's pissed off. And of course, this is what happens when you piss him off. He just digs deeper and he's found all kind of things that look, again, like Wild William says, all these packs are sketchy AF. Texas says it's cold. I know that's right. My feet are freezing right now. They're freezing cold. Yeah, it's not the whole point of the existence of Turning Point to be political. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it seems as if, like, well, what are they doing with their money if it's not political? If let's just ask for a second, if it's not political stuff they're doing with their money, then what are they doing with it? What's the non-political things that they're doing? Does anybody know? Do they claim? Did they ever say? I mean, I don't know. I don't follow Turning Point. I'm not, nothing to do with Turning Point USA, none of that. I just find this to be very fascinating. And it ticks me off, you know, that it's like this huge nonprofit and they're looking sketchy and no one's doing a damn thing about it. It's wild to me. It just blows my mind. Anyways, it gets worse. So let's listen up. I mean, it literally just gets worse and worse and worse. If you think that's all sketchy, listen to this.
The letter I received last week from Turning Point's lawyer revealed the bombshell news that America's Turning Point was missing employees on its 990 forms. A lot of employees. It was around 80 employees that were not reported.
Ooh.
So now we know these people exist. The obvious question now is, who are these people? What were these people doing? One explanation could be door knockers. Of course, if those door knockers were wearing MAGA hats, that would make them political, which would make them illegal under a 501c3. America's Turning Point also does not get donations. It gets all of its revenue by transferring money out of Turning Point USA. I mentioned before, in FY24, $8.6 million was transferred from Turning Point USA to America's Turning Point. So let me tell you what I think is going on. Tyler Boyer manages these political companies. The Trump election is coming up in 2024. Tyler Boyer realizes he needs more people to do ballot harvesting. So he decides, let's just steal the donations from Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA.
Ooh.
So he transfers $8.6 million into the company he manages, America's Turning Point. And then he hires a bunch of people for illegal political activity. And he tells everyone, come on, no one will ever know. Charlie Kirk doesn't even have to know. We will just say it is nonpartisan. We will call it get out the vote efforts. No one's ever going to ask questions. No one will ever look at the photographs. Don't worry about it. Except I think that Charlie Kirk found out. This fits the timeline of the Baker-Tilly audit that concluded on June 20th, 2025, that would have revealed all this information to Charlie Kirk shortly before his murder. If all of these people getting paid from America's Turning Point are not doing political activity, then what are they doing? In none of the photos I have seen is there anything that would qualify as non-political activity.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? In my opinion, this looks blatantly illegal. It looks like they are stealing donations and using them for something different than what they promised the donors. What they are allegedly using it for is illegal activity. This is why the letter with Donald Trump's alleged handwriting is so important. It looks like they stole the money to use on Donald Trump's campaign. And now Donald Trump himself could be involved in an attempt to cover up the fraud at Turning Point, the same fraud that he himself benefited from. Is this how Donald Trump is planning for Republicans to win the midterm elections? This week, Candace Owens broke a shocking news story.
Think about the size and scale of the event that they put on at Charlie's Memorial Service. They had AmFest. They had a huge donor thing at Mar-a-Lago. So everyone's been killing themselves and no one's getting raises and bonuses. And yet, according to this person, Turning Point USA has brought in $250 million since Charlie's assassination.
$250 million. Are the Turning Point executives planning on stealing those donations and using those funds illegally for political activity? Because that is what it looks like. I'm a conservative, and I do not want the Republicans to win the midterms if they're planning on doing it by breaking the law. If we have to choose between winning and doing the right thing, we need to decide to do the right thing. Come on, no reasonable person thinks that Turning Point Action was only spending 3% of their budget on political activity. They should not be stealing donations in order to win. The ends.
You know what? The whole thing. The whole thing. When it comes down to this, the entire thing, the whole fucking thing. Okay, the entire thing. All they have to do is just pay taxes on the goddamn money. That's it. Pay the fucking taxes. Pay your taxes. And none of this would even be in question. That's the whole point. It's insane. It's totally insane that all this whole thing comes down. It boils down to they've got all this money. They got more money than God being given to them. It's not like they're out there, working for the money. They are literally getting donations and giving you a 1 cent bracelet for your donation after they promise you a hat, allegedly. And all this, right? All this shit. And the whole thing, all it boils down to is they just aren't paying taxes on that money. Like, what? Middle class, we're all sitting here paying all this money in our taxes. We gotta starve. We gotta be cold. We gotta be hungry. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We gotta go week to week, paycheck to paycheck, hoping that we can make our bills, hoping our car doesn't break down, like hoping our furnace doesn't break down. We're broke. We could use that money that we're paying in taxes for our life. We could use that money to live off of. And yet we're paying taxes. These assholes are raking in millions of dollars, $250 million since September. And they just don't have to pay taxes on it. They just have to list it in the right fucking column on their tax forms and pay taxes on the stuff they should be paying taxes on. That's it. That's all they have to do to be completely above board and be like not questioned, nothing. What's the big deal? How much money does one person or one corporation need? How much do they actually need that they are spending, that they are doing all this craziness to not have to pay taxes on this money? Like, I don't understand. I don't. Because even if they paid taxes, they'd still have tons of fucking money. It's just blows my mind. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We're going to finish this up and then we're going to transition into fraud. More fraud.
Not justify the means. I want to emphasize that this is not a theoretical discussion about the tax code. Turning Point is hurting people. They are destroying people's lives. I've talked before about Julie Spilsbury. What Turning Point did to her was disgusting. This was a city councilwoman, a fellow Republican, and Turning Point orchestrated a recall election in the middle of her term because she would not vote how they told her to vote.
I would make a terrible politician because you know what? I wouldn't do a single goddamn thing anybody tried to tell me to do unless it was my voters. That's it. I mean, I don't know. Then you try to do that and look, they kick you out. They kick you out. You can't even be honest and do what your voters want you to do, because if you don't do what these big corporations and big companies and big non-profit organizations for the greater good of the world, whatever they want to say they are, because you don't do what they tell you, you get kicked out. You get taken out of there. It's crazy. And then on top of this, guys, I mean, all this stuff's going on, and they literally just passed a thing that all these government, these politicians get like something like $25,000 grants to buy homes now. They just passed a bill for that. $25,000 grants to buy their homes. Isn't that fucking sweet? Isn't that really nice of them? They just keep taking and taking and taking. Oh, and guess what else? Pfizer has developed a pill that they can tell if you've swallowed it. They can tell if you've eaten the pill. That's their new thing. They can tell if you took the pill. This is the new development from Pfizer. And also, Mr. Beast decided to endorse fake meat, lab rat meat. I mean, this world is going absolutely batshit crazy on us. Batshit crazy. And it gets worse because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to talk about. So let's move along with this turning point stuff, and we're going to transition into the rest. But here you have it. They kicked her out. She didn't do what they wanted them to, and they kicked her out.
They're not recalling Democrats. This is what they're doing to Republicans. Here's the photo I showed earlier of Turning Point shady election practices. This is how they destroyed the life of Julie Spilsbury. And it looks like they did it by violating the tax code. Baker Tilly is the accounting firm that has been performing the annual financial audit for Turning Point. They say there is nothing wrong with the financials at Turning Point. I have to ask Baker Tilly, when you were doing the audit, did you look around at what the company was actually doing in real life?
That pretty much sums it up, guys. You know, it's stuff that they're doing that, you know, like I said, if they would just pay the goddamn taxes on it, would be fine. All right. And speaking of fraud and people ripping us off and, you know, all the stuff we've been going through, there's a couple good posts that I've found over on X I want to share with you all. All right. So I found this one. This is Elon Omar, who I really can't stand. Okay. U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, she says. Let's hear if that's actually what she says. Yeah. They will do what we want and nothing else. We will call the shots in the U.S. Okay. Yeah. She's under investigation. And let's see. We've got a lot of things going on with ICE. All right. So the fraud is, let's just start with the fraud. All right. So we've got all this fraud going on. A lot of it is it centers in Minnesota, right? Where this Elon Omar is a representative. And so all this is going on, right? It drops, this huge story drops about the fraud. Huge story drops about all this fraud. And we're just like seeing all like fraud everywhere you look, fraud. But Minnesota is like the main hub. This is where Nick Shirley started and did his video and went around from daycare to daycare. Then people started going from, you know, home health aid places to checking into medical bills and Medicare, Medicaid, all this stuff. Regardless, there's billions and billions of dollars of fraud that is happening right now in Minnesota. Not only there, that's not the only place, right? Because we're finding out New York and LA and Ohio and, you know, all these different places. So all this fraud is going on right now. And then we're talking about it and talking about it. And we are, you know, we've got people that are like really into digging into this and seeing who's all involved in this and trying to uncover all the different fraud, right? We just got tons of netizens out there just digging into it and trying to figure it out. Well, lo and behold, then all of a sudden we start hearing about all these riots and ICE and all this stuff going on with ICE and stuff. And it's like, it's taking away from all the fraud that we were talking about. Now everybody's talking about the ICE, all the stuff going on with ICE. Like that's all anyone's talking about is ICE. And then you look and these there's like riots. Things are getting worse and worse over there. It's like the Wild West over in Minnesota right now. And what's up, Labs and Sasquatch? Yes, Omar needs to be arrested 100%. I hate that woman. Sorry, but I can't do it. But yes, it's like the wild, wild west over there right now. They're literally they're asking. We've got protesters on like every corner. This is really wild what they just uncovered here. Okay, so they've got protesters on every corner. They're everywhere. They're now harassing people that are just driving through. They're like, we want to see your ID. Meanwhile, they're protesting against all that, right? But these people that are just driving through, trying to get one place to the other, or just trying to get in to report on things and check things out, whatever, they're literally stopping their cars, pulling them out of their cars. People are pulling other people out of their cars. These protesters are just going wild. They're pulling people out of car. They beat the shit out of some guy who was live streaming from a parking lot in night. It was night. It was dark. There was no one else in the parking lot. He's sitting in the parking lot with his phone, live streaming, and they start pounding on his window. They walk up to his car, start pounding on his window, pull him out the car. They're in a big fist fight. Like it's just getting worse and worse over there, right? And it's all we're talking about. That's it. That's all we can talk about. There are now 2 people that have been shot and killed by ICE, right? All this is going on. It's compounding. It's getting worse, getting worse, getting worse. Well, it turns out that these protesters aren't really protesters at all. They're not even protesting. They're not out there to protest. They are paid. They're getting paid. They're employees. They're getting paid to go stand there and protest. They're getting supplies dropped in. They are actually coordinating with each other. They've got a whole entire handbook on how to handle every single thing that they would deal with, how to, get into formation, how to deal with ICE agents, how to do this, how to do that. It's literally just people that are bought and paid for. That's it. They've uncovered the this app that they are using to coordinate. They've uncovered it. The Signal app just blew up like a meth lab in a trailer park, and not the encrypted kind of explosion. This is from Third World Order. He says, I'm knee deep in this digital swamp, scrolling through X. Let me show you the post. You're going to die. Scrolling through X like a junkie chasing the next hit, and bam, leaked chats from Minnesota's elite lefty cabal plotting to shield murders, R words, and, from ISIS cold grip. Yeah, you heard that right. So basically, he's just really PO'd, right? But they did find that they're doing, crypto signals and traffic lights. That's the sideshow. This is the main event. They're literally, it's all being coordinated on Signal. I have the I don't want to scroll for you. I don't want you guys to see the scrolling. It's annoying, but let me pull it up. This guy has an entire list he scrolled through. It took like 4 minutes for him to scroll from top to bottom on this list. Where did I put it? It's under ICE, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just in shock. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. It's from Cam Higby, who's a journalist. He says, I've infiltrated organizational signal groups all around Minneapolis with the sole intention of tracking down federal agents and impeding, assaulting, and obstructing them. Buckle up, all will be revealed. Each area of the city has a signal or several signals. Let's start with a screen recording of all members of the Southside group. This is just one group, the Southside group. Okay, let me rewind it. Here's the scrolling through of the Southside group. Still scrolling. Still scrolling. We're only on MNOP. It just go S. It's literally how many people is this now? I mean, honest to God. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the whole thing boils down to, I guess, ICE agents are being sent in there to collect up all the illegal aliens, the people that are involved in this Somalian daycare fraud. That's the whole reason they're out there, right? Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, let me know. But I think that's the whole reason out there is they're out there to collect these people who are committing fraud with our tax dollars. They're literally taking our money in our tax dollars. And, you know, these people are defending them. They're out here dying for the cause of giving everybody's tax dollars to these people. And I'm totally in shock that this is happening right now. Like, we're all broke. And I mean, I understand that if you're broke and they're offering you good money to stand out there and protest, but you don't have to be violent. You don't have to get crazy. Just stand out there and hold your sign. You know, you shouldn't be impeding federal agents. You just shouldn't be. When people go up against a police officer or a fed, like, I don't know where any of you guys are from, but where I am from, you don't do that, because they will take you down. That's just plain and simple. We don't mess with them because, you know, it's the authorities and they can do whatever they want to you. And unless you have money for a good lawyer, there ain't nothing you can do. But these people just like do the dumbest stuff, and they're out here attacking other American citizens. You know, it's a shame. And where in the hell's the National Guard? Where's the National Guard for this? Pam Bondi said she sent a strongly worded letter to Governor Tim Walz about this situation. It was really strongly worded, though. You know what I mean? It's pretty hardcore, the letter. She's like, what? That's her answer to helping. That's Pam Bondi's answer to helping. Love her. Just love her to death. And if you didn't pick up on that, that's sarcasm. Okay. Trump gave Argentina $20 billion of our tax dollars. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. I really do think people should, if it wasn't so hard to take your money out of your paycheck and set it aside for taxes, literally we should all just go to our employers and get a new W-9 and go tax exempt on there. Because all throughout the year, they're getting our money. They're getting payments every week of our money because they take out taxes out of our paycheck, and that goes to the government. They use it and do what they want with it. But if you just file tax exempt on your W-9, they can't get your money until it's time to pay taxes at the end of the year. You know, so if you just hold it off, at least they won't be getting paid all year long. At least they're only going to get paid till the, you know, they're only going to get paid till the end of the year. I just think people should do something, because they just, like, it's crazy. It's crazy that this is allowed to continue to just keep going on. It's wild. And they did find, let me see if I could find, stalking cops and others on signals. Shout out to Cam Higbee. These people are lunatics. They're a paramilitary group. This isn't a protest, it's insurgency. High volume chat group. All leads start here and get pasted in FTP chat when it's confirmed ICE activity. Unvetted chat. While on a shift, please put emoji in front of your signal name so we know your role and your location. For instance, here's mobile patrol, stationary patrol, foot patrol, dispatch, hyper local group messenger, school transport safety spotters, license plate checker, medic, and aftercare provider. And they all have emojis to put next to their name during their shift. And Johnny Midnight claims that the Minnesota Signal group leader is identified as Amanda Kohler, a protest organizer and campaign strategist for Tim Walz. And that was from 0 Hour 1. So allegedly, this is the person who's like in charge of it. And here's a good one. Insurrectionist fleeing the state and country. A tipster messaged some of the people in one of the Minnesota insurrectionist chat signal chats. The user indicated that she intends to flee the state because we're in so much trouble. We're all effed, she said. So let's take a look at these messages. This is somebody in the Signal group, and their name is Sky. Sky says, or somebody texts Sky, Sky, what do we do now? Sky says, run. They say, run where? Hold on. Sky says, I don't know, out of the state. I'm leaving tonight. I don't know what's happening. We're in so much trouble. And they said, why would we be in trouble? Relax. And Sky says, Signal is not secure. I worked in communications. Once they figure out where we are, it's only a matter of time. Flan has been exposed. We're all effed. I need to leave this state. And they said, should I leave too? Maybe best to get out of the country. Sky says, I have contacts in Cuba. It was a thought. They said, have you been in contact with the others? Hopefully everyone knows to get out. And Sky says, no, I just logged in. Oh, okay. Anxious to get the new Isles group up and running. And Sky says, we have to lock this down now. I can find the new links. I can't find the new links. They said, same. Pretty sure the FBI just pulled up to my neighbor's house. Sky says, stay safe. You too. We have less than 24 hours. For what? To get out? And Sky says, yes, good luck. This is what, this is what people are like dealing with. Here's the live streamer that was ambushed in their car. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but you can see they dive right in there to get him, and he's just sitting there live streaming in his car, like literally sitting in his car just doing his own live stream. And somebody comes up and just wants to pounce on him. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I just don't get it. I mean, I really wouldn't want to do that. I mean, how much money could they possibly be getting paid? There's thousands of them, right? It's got to be tens of thousands at this point. It's got to be so many. I can't imagine. Like, the one lady I saw had her baby. We had her newborn, like her infant baby on there. What message just popped up on my screen? That was weird. I saw something pop up and I don't know what it said. Yeah, she had her infant baby out there at the protest lines. And they even found a booklet. They found a booklet too. Let me see if I can find that. They actually found the manual. What would this be called? What would that be called? Let's see. What would the manual be called? I want to try to find it. The protester manual, maybe? Whoa. Please hit the like, please hit the like, please hit the like. And also subscribe if you're new, because this is like the bestest channel ever. Okay. Oh, goodness. Here we go. Here's a manual. Let's see. This is the manual instructing people on how to interfere with law enforcement operations. They've got a whole daggone manual. Do not text in the chat while driving. They want you to be safe. They want you to be super safe. Unreal. They want you to be super safe. No texting while driving. Minnesota Best Practices Guide to Neighborhood or Area Patrol / monitors. Introduction, patrolling, commuting. Work in teams of 2. Here we go. Patrolling and commuting. Here's that. Mobile patrol. Stationary patrol. What to bring. Essentials. A buddy or two. Bring a buddy or two. That's the main essential that you need to do. Bring a friend or two with you. So they'll pay some of them, but they want some of them to bring their friends, I guess. Extra credit. What? Extra whistles, a megaphone. How to identify an ICE agent flyers, protest signs. I mean, what do they care if it, I mean, what, I don't understand. Foot patrol. Information for all patrol types. Patrol daily chat. Arrive on the scene. No ICE on the scene. You report to the patrol chat. 1 ICE vehicle, report to patrol chat. Ask for backup. 2+ ICE vehicles. Issue salute for staging. Agents out of vehicle. Issue salute for abduction. What? Abduction? What? What? What are they abducting? Lord. Are they trying to abduct ICE people? Jesus Christ. No or 1 ICE. Stay in contact with dispatch. Do not activate RR until confirmed staging or abduction. Deploy RR. Report to patrol chat. Size 3 vehicles, 6 agents. Activity. Knocking at door. Location. Lake and Chicago. Uniform. Tactical vest. Time. Equipment. Whistle, honk, make noise. Film. Broadcast. Wow, this is insanity, guys. Who wrote this book? Keybeard, what's up, Keybeard? The FY 2026 budget includes $11.3 billion, 20,808 positions, and 20,786 full-time equivalents for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE. Got it. Well, I think they just need to just end this by sending in the National Guard, arresting every single protester, and picking up all the illegal aliens. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, they're doing all the right things over there. ICE is doing all the right things, because obviously they are not, you know, but you see that they have to continue, like, the amount of protesters creates a need to have more ICE agents. A need to have more ICE agents creates fresh ICE agents who may not know what they're doing, who may not be trained, you know. Sounds like they may be staging fake ICE abductions to video. That's a good point. That's a good point. But, you know, it creates more need for more ICE agents. More ICE agents means untrained ICE agents. I mean, they're sure they're trained a bit, but not like a real federal agent is trained. And so then accidents start happening. And it's like they were trying to get into a hotel because they heard 2 ICE agents were at a hotel. They were like pounding their way into the hotel, beating up civilians to get to these ICE agents. It's like, what are you people doing? I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand. Make it make sense, because I'm missing something. I'm totally missing something here. I mean, it's all happening, and it's blocking everyone's view to the fraud and all the fraud that's going on, and the politicians that are involved in this fraud that we need to make sure get taken out of rotation, or whatever you want to call it, out of office. They need to be out of office. If they're participating in this fraud, they shouldn't be here. But we can't even see it, because we're all we see is this protest going on. Yeah, it makes no sense to me to act worse than the agents you are protesting. Exactly. They've got special emojis for the chat to let everybody know their status. I mean, it's like they've got somebody in the military wrote this up. Somebody high in the military wrote this up. This is an entire manual. Look, identifying abductors' vehicles. So they're calling ICE agents abductors. That's what they're calling the ICE agents, it looks like. Look for some combination of these potential factors that make it more likely. People inside are mostly in pairs, though sometimes 1, sometimes 3+. Driver and passenger wearing neck neck something or buffs, they pull up over their faces to mask their identities. They're wearing vests or have tactical gear. ICE agents in or out of their vehicle. Reference guide. This is just crazy. Reference guide. Common modes. Jeep Grand Cherokee, Nissan Pathfinders, Ford Explorers, Ford Taurus, GMC Denali, Cadillac Escalade. I mean, a lot of people drive a lot of these cars. It's like common vehicles. That's why the agents have them. That's why police use them, because they're common vehicles. A lot of people have them. They can blend in. You don't really notice it. What do you do when you see it? Just gets request a plate check in the live call. Dispatch on plate checker will confirm. Commute behind at a safe distance. Do not try to interfere or block them. So they're not even listening to their own instructions. They're not even listening to their own instructions. Do not post any videos to social media that reveal identities of people being abducted by federal agents. Try to remain as calm as possible and steady your hands. It's like they're not actually listening to these instructions anyways. And this tells them how ICE move, and they're different. And how would people know exactly how the ICE agents are trained, federally trained, how they do box-ins and things like that, their tactics and things. I mean, I understand you can notice some of their tactics by watching them, but these are like very specific things that they're stating. So they are obviously watching. They're obviously getting some information from somebody high up there. And already they're starting to dig into the politics of it and find out exactly who those people are. They're trying to find out exactly who these people actually are, which is a good thing because we need to know who's putting this out here. Need to save this to my ICE folder. I sure do. I mean, it's one thing after another around here. Yeah, I've heard quite a few things about this as well. A financial reset is about to happen. I have heard that, and I do believe that is coming 100%. I don't know if any of you guys are aware of what's going on in financial district, but there is some type of financial reset coming because something's about to go down. Let me see if I can find. I wanted to show you guys something else here, but I don't want to scroll in your faces. Let's see. Yikes. Yeah, there's like people, even doctors who are choosing not to care for certain patients depending on their political status and stuff. It's really wild. I don't know if I believe that though. I think it's just the, news trying to get us to get mad at each other and things like that. Of course, let's see. I really want to find the one for yeah, it seems like there's many people talking about the crash in the economy coming, guys, like a lot. Um, Anybody know anything about finances over here in chat? Why aren't I in Minnesota? Nope. No thanks. No thank you. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying they don't want to talk about ICE. They want to talk about the $100 billion that that just, I'm going to just say, politicians stole from taxpayers of Minnesota, because I don't think there's any sides. It's all just, they're all corrupt and just ridiculous. There's just lots of things happening. Let me go to my section. There's a couple other things I did want to tell you guys about before we head out of here. It's in my miscellaneous section. Here we go. This is a really good one you all need to be aware of. The tablet dissolves in your stomach and shows a signal to show you've taken it. Imagine the applications of that. The compliance. Listen to how excited Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla is about tracking pills. Once the digital infrastructure for your digital prison is complete, pharmaceutical drugs will inevitably be mandated. If you refuse to take it, they will know. Then you'll be locked out of your digital world, and as your social credit score continues to drop. Yeah, because they're going to be giving us digital IDs with digital money. This crash is going to happen, and the government's going to rescue us. They're going to give us digital IDs with digital money that we can spend in increments of certain things, like, this much digital money on whatever, your house, this much digital money on clothing and groceries, this much digital money on whatever. It's going to be all allocated, right? Eventually, they're probably going to build us little homes to live in as well. But now they've got some pills that they can tell you're taking. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be super exciting. Let's listen to what he has to say, because this interests me a lot.
FDA approved the first electronic pill, if I can call it like that. It is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know. FDA approved
the compliance. He actually said that. Imagine the implications of that. The compliance. Imagine what you can do with that. Jesus Christ. It is insane. It is insane. And there's some other things going on as well. Over in Florida. Social credit score is probably going to be something like your overall score of being a human being. You know what I mean? They're going to have that because your digital ID is going to tell them every single thing you do, every single place you go, and every single thing you're doing. So you're going to get probably a social credit score. Like, are you an asshole? Do you believe in what they believe in? Are you protesting things? Are you agreeing with everything? Are you going along like a good little sheep? Then they're probably going to score you. Things like that. This world is about to turn crazy, guys. Absolutely batshit crazy. It's already crazy. Look how crazy it is now. Imagine just how much worse it's going to get. So there's medical kidnapping is a quiet epidemic. Here's how it works. A child or dependent is diagnosed, sometimes incorrectly, with a condition. Corrupt doctors demand that patients follow big pharma protocols. Parents seek a second option or prefer an alternative treatment that generates no profit for the doctors or pharma. So the doctors will call CPS. Unbeknownst to parents, CPS hold secret hearings with judges to obtain temporary restraining orders to remove the child, since agencies receive more funding with higher numbers of children in custody. The judges grant permission. CPS arrives with police and removes, or they're saying kidnaps, the child. Parents have 24 to 48 hours to find and pay a lawyer capable of making a scientific argument about the medical necessity of the treatment that corrupt doctors want to profit from, or simply consent to poisoning their child. Parents fail, CPS retains custody, and the agency makes more money. The family is destroyed, and an unaffordable legal battle begins. All of this occurs under a shroud of secrecy. If parents speak out, they face potential legal consequences, and CPS corruptly threatens their other children. That's your tax money at work with zero transparency or accountability. And there is some footage from the quote free state of Florida showing DCF forcibly removing a child from her mother for not following doctor's advice. And here it is.
This one of two ways. You can show out and you can act a fool and you can make this difficult. Or
show out and act a fool. Oh my gosh. Did she just talk to the mother like that? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what that bitch just said? Act a fool. Why? Because she doesn't want to give her child over to CPS for not giving her medication. She doesn't want to give her medication because it has terrible side effects or whatever. I mean, I could see sometimes if it's something like, if it's something crazy and radical, I could understand the importance of something like this. But if it's something that, you have time and options and you're seeking other diagnose, like a second opinion, third opinion on things before you want to give your child medication, this is crazy.
Taker, stop. Let me
Can my friend Taker stop?
Don't interrupt me.
Bitch. Oh my God, I can't watch this. I'm not watching the rest because I would be, nope. Stop. Let me finish and don't interrupt me. I would have that girl's hair balled up. Ignorant lady. That's so rude. Hope that's not actually what's going on, but I have a feeling it is. So. And also, guys, very quickly, we've got some fake nurses coming around. Fraudulent nursing diplomas. Big deal here. I suggest you screenshot this list once I pull it up. It says massive operation. If you work in the medical field in the United States and a nurse went to any of the following schools, notify your supervisor immediately. Or, if you are just getting any type of treatment and you have nurses taking care of you, you may want to check to see what their credentials are. It says these schools have been identified as participants in the scheme to issue fraudulent nursing diplomas and supporting documents. And there's a whole thing, a whole article in the news about it. It's in Florida investigation. It's Operation Nightingale. And these are the list of colleges, the schools that these fraudulent nurses are showing that they have gone to. So take a screenshot of that for your own purposes. Yeah. Nurse training, getting paid to hand out diploma/certificates. Yes. Take a screenshot of this one because this is insane as well. I mean, we just got it coming all over every which way, guys. This looks crazy. This looks crazy. Read this twice. The global financial system is preparing for aliens. This is not a meme. This is not a fringe blog. This is an actual newspaper article reporting the Bank of England has been urged to prepare for financial collapse if aliens are officially confirmed. Not if they come here, but if they're confirmed. Yikes. I mean, whatever, I guess. And here's one that I found disturbing. Google emailed my youngest child today to tell him he's almost 13 and eligible to remove parental controls. $1 trillion corporation is directly contacting every child to tell them that they are old enough to graduate from parental supervision. Oh, I didn't want to pull that up. Yeah, that's cool. I don't want to look at that either. It's pretty disturbing. Let's see real quick. Let's look at the Blake Lively stuff because I do want to just quickly touch on that because it's pretty wild. Okay, here we go. Here we are. So if you guys remember a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I did a live stream or whatever. We talked about the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni. It ends with us super saga, right? Blake Lively stated that she was being SH'd in the workplace. She was having a really hard time. It was like the worst time of her life. They were just picking on her. They were just like making all these advances on her. Justin was like, your outfit looks nice. And she took that as a, SH. And she just took everything as SH. Like, whatever. The bitch is crazy. All right. So anyways, she files a complaint with the California something or other board of whatever. And it goes all over the internet. And everybody picks up. They're like, oh my God, Justin Baldoni's a freak. He's a freak. He's SHing this poor woman during the making of this movie. I can't believe it. Then the media starts popping out stories, right? Just right and left. Media is saying all these stories about this man and what a, perv he is and what a weirdo, etc. Poor Blake Lively, boo-hoo, blah, blah, blah. Story goes on. Then the movie comes out. It's Justin Baldoni's movie. He bought the movie rights. He, did the whole script. He did everything for the movie, produced the movie, all this, and the movie finally comes out. And because of all this negative press and all the stuff that Blake Lively's spinning in the media, he gets allocated to a basement with his family and friends to actually watch the premiere of his own goddamn movie. While Blake Lively's up on the red carpet selling her booze and all this other, her makeup and her booze, while she's promoting a movie about domestic violence. Okay. She's totally off. She's a wackadoo. All right. People just don't like her. And so they start talking shit on her. They don't like her. She is very unlikable. Okay. She's the unlikable biatch. Put a 1 in the chat if you like Blake Lively. Put a 2 in the chat if you think she's an unlikable biatch. Right? So anyhow, the media gets a hold of her and the netizens just, we don't like people like that. We don't like conceited, stuck up, snooty ass bitches, basically. We don't like it. Okay. And that's what she is. She's a conceited, stuck up, snooty ass biatch. GQ Minutes Blake Lively. She played in the movie It Ends With Us. Excuse me. She also plays in all kinds of other movies, but she sucks at acting. And so she's Ryan Reynolds' wife. I'm trying to get a picture of her. Oh, yeah. Here's Justin Baldoni allocated to the basement. Look at this shitty ass basement that he's sitting in the premiere of his own movie. It's the premiere of his very own movie. And they're all dressed to the nines, and they're sitting in a basement, like munching popcorn, watching the movie. On pallets, for Christ's sakes. It says, Justin Baldoni, a man of deep faith, empathy, and spirituality, consigned to the basement with his friends and family at the premiere of his own movie, It Ends With Us. It was on August 6, 2024. While Blake Lively was hard selling her liquor and hair products on the red carpet of a movie about DV. And there it was. So that's basically what it is, So all this stuff goes down. He's down in the basement watching his own damn movie. The press picks it up because they hate her. Then netizens are like, you know what? We can't stand this woman. And the tides turn, okay? The tides turn because stuff starts leaking out. People start seeing like how weird this is. Like, why is this dude in the basement? And like, all of her little claims seem to be untrue and things aren't adding up. And people are just starting to kind of scratch their head, and they, eventually netizens, they explore now and they do research. They dig into things. They have connections, especially people that have bigger channels. Like they have many connections. They're just going to ask a question, and all their people will tell them all the answers they need and give them information and things, just like Candace, So people end up finding out about Blake Lively. And they find out that she lied about all of the SH. And she filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni for the SH in the workplace. And because she says he did a I don't even know what you would call it. Basically did a whole smear campaign on her in the media. She thinks he did a smear campaign on her because people hate her. She just doesn't realize that it's not anybody's making anyone hate her. People just hate her. They just don't like her. It's not like he did a smear campaign. The netizens just understand what kind of person she is, and they just didn't like her. Regardless, she files a lawsuit. Dumbest thing she could have did. because now all of these text messages that she's sending back and forth to everybody, all these emails, all these text messages, all this, like, every word she spoke from before the movie even started being filmed until after the movie was filmed, all the shit she talked about was put into the court case in discovery, right? She asked the judge if they would please seal all of her text messages and stuff, because she just felt like people's lives would be in danger if the public got a hold of these messages. People's lives would be in danger, she says to the judge. I think that's what it was. It was something like that. So ridiculous like that. Anywho, the judge is like, no, I'm not sealing anything. The public has a right to see all this information. And so therefore, all the text messages then get revealed. And this was like on the 20th or something. This was like only a couple of days ago. This was only like a few days ago. All these text messages start leaking out. And Jesus Christ, guys, the messages that she sent to people, the amount of ass kissing she did to all of her A-list friends, the amount of begging she did for people to watch the movie. Like, she made adjustments in the movie. She bullied this guy through the making of this whole movie. She wanted production rights. She wanted to take over the movie. She wanted to be the one in charge of the whole thing. Like, and it's after the guy does all the work, right? After he gets the whole entire movie pretty much done, she starts, coming in and wanting to change scenes and wanting to redo all the editing and this, that, do a whole different soundtrack. Like, there's a whole bunch to it. Like, she just wanted to take over. And evidently, you can see she kind of did, because he's stuck in the basement during the premiere of his own movie. But he refuses to give over any of his rights. He refuses to sign any papers or anything like that. And he stands his ground. And again, now this whole court case comes out and all these documents are unsealed. And it's just wild the lengths she went through, the lengths she went to, and just how evil she is, dude. She's just evil. I have a feeling, though, a lot of these people like Colleen Hoover and even Taylor Swift, even Ryan Reynolds, for God's sakes. I think that Blake Lively, I think she literally just told everybody she was being really badly SH'd at work. I think that's what she did. She told all of her friends that. Like, she told Taylor Swift, like, hey, he is just harassing me. Like, I'm going through a lot right now. There's just so much going on. And she made people feel bad. Like, she made people feel like, oh my God, like, this poor girl, she's going through it. This guy's evil, And of course, when it's your friend and you think that something bad's happening to them, you want to stand up for them and you want to, you ride for them because that's your friend or your family or whatever. And so I think all these people around her acted how they would act if they thought she was being SH'd by this creep. And so some of the stuff they were saying was really evil and mean and horrible and whatever. And she pulls Taylor Swift into her drama. She gets Taylor Swift involved in this drama. And it's a lot. It's a lot. The actual documents in the court, like the actual docket, all right, with all of the documents in it for this court case is absolutely insane. I can't even download the information from them unsealing. It's more than 165 separate documents that they unsealed at once. And you can't even download the entire thing at once because it's so many. It's just the file's so big. It's that much. And so going through the information is just a lot. And it's just a lot of information. But regardless, turns out she's, dragged a bunch of people into her drama, and all these text messages have leaked. And it, like, Ryan Reynolds looks like a total wackadoo, just name calling and just getting so freaked out over every little thing. And it seems like he was more worried about the part where it was her reputation getting tarnished. He wasn't really worried about the SH. Like, he never mentions that she's being SH'd at work. He just mentions that her reputation is being tarnished by this huge smear campaign, like, that this guy's doing. And it's just a lot. And it's totally crazy. And it's a wild. And I want to see if I can find the Taylor Swift messages. Is this one of them? It's bigger down here. Let's see. Where does it say the names? No, that's not even the right person. Yeah, but there's a lot. Okay. Here, we'll take a look at this little post here because this pretty much sums it up. Okay. It says, here's how I think Blake Lively is an actual vulture. Does no real work, but wants all the credit by pushing out everyone who actually did the work. She mentions no one ever except herself. She, quote, saved the film by left tit. Woman's a damn barnacle. Poor Justin Baldoni. And the post says, Blake Lively didn't purchase the book, didn't develop the concept, didn't do any preparation, budgeting, or any development. She waltzed in, crushed the script to put her name on it, crushed the clothes to get her own stamp on it, bullied herself into music, editing, promotion, final cut. This is after the professionals already did everything. It's like adding sprinkles on a fully assembled cake. Then she used actual serious matter to try and blacklist a man from his own intellectual property. She said it was made by women for women. No, it was made by a man who cares, and you spat in his face by demeaning his capability of understanding domestic violence because he has a PP. Sexist much? It's like watching an old chicken trying to stick peacock feathers up her ass and calling herself a phoenix. Didn't do shit but wants all the credit. P.S. Fashion sense, girl, you're a mess. I know you don't think so, but you really are. This post actually was really well said. I think I'm gonna share that. I like that. That was very well said. That's pretty much what happened, guys. That's pretty much sums the whole thing up. I couldn't have said it better. That's perfect. Y'all are in for rude awakenings. If you're a millennial like me, we're going to be dying on hospital beds, and we expect an iPad kid born in 2005 to be a chat GPT doctor and revive us. Scary. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You're 100% correct. And we're not going to have any money either. Don't forget that. We're not going to have any money. And if you've used all your allocated electronic ID funds for your medical stuff throughout the year, you probably ain't going to be allowed to even to have a bed. You probably ain't going to be allowed to get a bed in the goddamn chat GPT section. Trust and believe that there's going to be money allocated. This is how much you get for medical expenses. Don't get sick and don't overuse it. That's what it's going to be like. They literally got this all, these billionaires got this shit all planned out. Oh, thank you so much, countryman. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's why I wanted to come to the Blake Lively stuff, because I get a kick out of it. It's very light, happy. I want to get, gotta like kind of try to get my happiness back. He says, yep, own nothing and be happy. Crazy. Yep. It's really coming. And I really want to start talking more about what's coming with as far as cryptocurrencies and stuff. I really urge every single one of you guys listening to go read up about cryptocurrency, what it is, you know, how it works, how you can get involved in it, or just even finding out about what it is will help, because that's what the world's going to run on is crypto. It's not going to be dollar bills anymore. No nickels, pennies, nothing. You know, I mean, basically it's electronic right now, because when's the last time you had a $10 bill or wrote a check? It's all electronic through your debit card. So we kind of won't be that shocked by the change, because it's going to be kind of the same thing. It's just going to be, instead of dollars, it's going to be crypto, and you can never actually get a physical dollar in your hand ever again. So it's all electronic. There's literally no more dollar. Even if you wanted a goddamn dollar, you ain't going to find one, or you'll find one, but it'll be worthless, right? But that's what it's going to be. It's all going to be electronic. But you probably should know what crypto is, how it works, all that good stuff. I just started learning all about it probably 6 months ago, and really, you know, trying to read up on it, figure it all out. It's a lot. It's wild, you know? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why gold is $5,000 and silver is $110 an ounce now. And they keep warning us. A couple of these people in finance keep warning us that we're in for a financial collapse. And I 100% truly believe that. I truly believe it. Just like you said, that's why gold is $5,000 and silver's $110, because people are buying it. people are buying that because they know the dollar is about to go. Yeah, they are. You ain't lying. You know what's going on. No, it's gonna be crypto. They've already got it all planned out. They've already got it all planned out. It's gonna be on a uh it's gonna be on a crypto that's like equivalent to $1. Stable coin. They're called stable coins, where they stay stable. They don't jump up and down with the market. It's $1 equals $1. And it's always that way. It never changes value. That's what they're going to be using. Got to see which one wins the crypto wars before I invest. I hear that. I want gold press platinum. I don't even know what that is. Latinum. That's not a thing. Is it, GK man? Don't trick me now. I don't think that's a thing. But yes, we needed to take a nice deep breath and brush off all that nonsense. But yes, please start thinking about crypto, looking up crypto, check out the stable coin. Who was that? Chuck Soup, I think, said that. Was Chuck Soup or G Keyman? I can't remember which one. But yeah, it's going to be on a stable coin, and it's going to still be considered cryptocurrency, but that's pretty much all they're going to be using. Yeah, it really is crazy. They're actually making a bunch of robots to take a bunch of the jobs away from people, right? Because then you're not going to be able to work because the robots do your job. They're going to be doing your job unless you're a certain education of person and have like things that robots can't do that you can do, like maybe be a lawyer, something like that. You know, those that really can't be replaced with. It probably might be, but I don't know, because lawyers are pretty sneaky and tricky, and I don't think an AI could be trained to become a good lawyer in that sense. So who knows? There's going to be jobs. Basically, the robots are going to take over most of the job market. And the people that normally do those jobs are going to be out of work. So how do they make money? They don't make money. The government gives you an allocated bunch of funds. And of course, you know, they're not going to be able to pay your mortgage or rent or whatever. They're probably going to end up eventually giving you giving us all housing as well. We're going to have little houses we have to live in on little streets assigned to us. And, you know, now they got the electronic pills, and oh my gosh. Nice. Yes. Yes, we officially live in the Matrix. That's right, dude. I was just said that to my husband last night. I said, we are in the Matrix, bro. We're in the Matrix right now. They think I'm crazy at home because I totally dive into all these conspiracy theories, but honest to goodness, I can see it coming. It might not be in my lifetime, but I still would like to fight for, you know, my child's lifetime or my grandchild's lifetime. And I don't want to see that happening. But the thing is people don't realize it's coming until it's already here. They hide it from us by doing all this other shit, like all these ICE protests and the fraud and all this stuff. They take our attention away from things, and then they pass bills while all this stuff is going on. And we don't even realize they passed it, just like the one where they're giving all these, politicians the $25,000 help buying a home. Wouldn't that be nice if a veteran got that and not a politician? $25,000 grant to buy a home for the people that actually made sure we stay free in this country. Wouldn't that be nice if they got that instead? But no, they passed the bill and gave it to the politicians. And they did that all while we were worried about these ICE protests and all that other crap. What's up, Dial Up? What's up, Dial Up? AI-driven world, yep, and a bunch of sociopathic trillionaires who want to try and run it, yeah. And, basically, unfortunately, it's like, the thing about it, G. Keyman, though, you say it has a long ways to go, but here's the thing. They don't show us the good stuff. They never show us the good stuff. They never do. We heard that Trump or the government might have some sonic thing. Remember, it was like 5 months ago we were talking about it, and we were talking about like these people that they were in, I don't know if they were in Cuba or they were somewhere, and they kept getting these headaches and nosebleeds at work. The whole building would erupt with headaches and nosebleeds and all these weird symptoms. And people said it was a conspiracy theory. There's nothing going on. We were thinking that I thought they were testing some type of sonic machine. They were testing it out. Had to make sure it worked, right? Because why would all these people just bust out with nosebleeds and stuff like that, and this, that, the next? And that was like months and months ago. And we never heard another thing about it, right? We heard that story. It was weird, whatever. And then nothing else came of it. And it just went silent. And then lo and behold, Trump goes to invade Venezuela and he blasts the entire friggin' military over there with this machine. And they're literally like incapacitated. They can do absolutely nothing. They're completely incapacitated by this sonic machine. And that's just something we didn't even know they had. And I find it funny that he used it and showed it, and a big show of strength, right? It completely incapacitated a military force with that thing. Completely. And he showed that right before he decided he wanted to go and take over, what was it, Greenland or whatever he's taking over, to take over Greenland. He was like, hey, we want Greenland. And so everybody's going like, well, we don't want to fuck with you, so you might as well take it. I mean, we're not fighting. We're not going to fight you for it because you'll win. You got that big machine. So it's crazy. Although I did just watch a thing, somebody made perfect sense about it, and they said, who's going to when we elect our next president, we need to make sure that that person is going to make sure we don't erupt into World War III, because there's a lot of places that are fighting each other right now. And Trump might be a complete and total D-bag, but he has completely and totally brokered peace all around the world where there's no World War III erupting. He's literally holding off World War III with his ability to negotiate. He's negotiating all these deals between all these countries, so that they don't go into war. And it's sick and sad as it is, and as annoying as it is, at least he's doing that. And we definitely need to make sure that when we are thinking of who we want to vote for the next president, that they've got some type of negotiation skills and they're good at foreign policies and foreign politics and things like that, because, we're on the brink of something terrible. And, Trump might be an a-hole, but he definitely is holding that back. We could give him that at least. I don't even believe in leftists and right and left anymore, because they're all nuts. They're all nuts. We got nutsos in every corner right now. Every freaking corner. You can't even see straight. It's like, I feel like it's us against, the politicians, to be honest. That's how I feel, because they're all just stealing from us. Every single one of them. Yeah, it's all like, it's crazy. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. There you go, countryman. I know that's right. Yeah, it's like, I feel like the last thing we should be doing is what's happening in Minnesota. We should not be fighting each other. We should not be, we should not be out here getting wild and crazy and disrupting people's way of life. And imagine the people that live on the streets that they're doing this shit on. I'd be so mad. Oh my God. I'd be so mad if that was out front. And Candace posted something. I saw Candace Owens posted something like, this also helps drive people out of a neighborhood, right? Because people are like, I'm out of here, dude. I'm moving. People abandon their rental properties. They leave their homes because you can't sleep. You can't be in your house if there's protesters and violence completely surrounding your home. So you got to leave. So everybody's leaving their buildings and their homes and whatever. And all this space is getting unoccupied. And now who can come in and buy all that? Only somebody with a whole lot of money, So they're buying up the properties. They're buying up the properties they want. It's a good way for them to clear out an area. It's just a shame that people fall for it and are like, but it's like people are poor. They need a paycheck. So that I mean, it's like you can understand every angle. It's just sad that it's happening. It's so sad. It's just going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, like I said, when Tay gets involved in this stuff and she's texting, calling people bitches, it's a bit crazy. Okay. Yeah, and that donor who threatened Charlie Kirk has been revealed as allegedly angry pro-Israel Lori Cardoza Moore. And she texted Charlie Kirk that crazy, weird-ass message. Be very careful, Charlie. Like, bitch. I would have told her to take her money and shove it right up her ass hole. That's what I would have said. That's probably what Charlie said, too. I don't know. The guy didn't even know nothing about him, but I bet he would have said that. It's probably why he's not here now. But you can only take so much. Some lady telling you this stuff? Oh, no. Anyways, I thank you all so very much for hanging out. Please subscribe if you're not already. Like, share, all that good garbage, all that stuff. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers by tomorrow. So we got to get this going, guys. You know what I mean? It's like we're trying to get this to be the biggest, giantest channel ever. Pennsylvania, countryman. From good old PA. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. So, anywho, yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I had a great time with y'all. You are a lot of fun. I'm going to try to be live almost every day. So I hope you guys come back. I don't know. What's the good times for everybody? Because I go live, but I don't want to do it at different times every day. And would like to get a set time that we can all chill and hang out and talk about whatever. Anybody got a time for me? Throw in a time. Eastern Standard Time. What time do you want to go live? What time do you like, GK man? You always come to the lives. 2 p.m. is good. Okay. I like 2 p.m. That's a good time for me, actually. Anyone else good for 2 p.m.? I'm just trying to figure out a good time to go live. Anytime, just let me know. And I know, GK, you always show up and show out. I appreciate you so very much. Chuck Soup says 153. It's gonna have to be 153. I gotta write that down. Chuck Soup. That's hilarious. That's what I'm gonna do. That's exactly what I'm gonna go live next. 1:53 p.m. All right, guys. Make sure that you when you subscribe, that all of you go back into the subscribe button, click on it, make sure you have the notifications set to all. That way, when I do go live, it'll click you up and tell you, bitch is getting ready to bitch a little bit. So get over there and listen. Oh, thank you so much, countryman. Yes, thank you, Wild William. I appreciate it. You always show up too. I really appreciate it. But yes, have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you. I'm going to be live tomorrow at 1:53. So I will see you there. All right. Big love to all you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one.